Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do our review for Civil War, Captain America Civil War. I did see it last Thursday. I did record a review Thursday night. For some reason, when I was editing it, it came out all messed up. The audio and the video was completely out of sync. So I ended up putting it up on Facebook. So some of you guys already saw what my thoughts were. But this review, since it's already been a week, we're going to go right into spoiler talk. We're not going to do two reviews or whatever. We're going to go into spoiler talk. I'm going to share my thoughts on the movie and then talk about some of the nice things like the Black Panther and Spider-Man. So overall, I love the movie. I love Captain America. There's not too much this movie could have done to turn me off. So I don't have too much to criticize. In fact, the areas of criticism that other people present to this movie are areas that they're things that I find about it that I like. One thing specifically is Baron Zemo. A lot of people criticize it was a very soft villain and didn't do much. He wasn't necessary. I disagree. First of all, he proved to be very necessary to the plot because he was the one spinning things out of control. Secondly, I also think that he did more damage than any other villain to this point. I mean, he said in the movie, you know, I can't kill them myself. I'm not powerful. Stronger men have tried and failed. And when you consider how the Avengers handled Ultron, how they handled, Loki, how they handled the Chitauri and all that stuff, yeah, there's not much he could do against them. But what he did do was he threw things in shambles. At the end of the movie, he was one of the reasons why the Avengers split. I mean, yes, part of it was the Registration Act that they wanted the Avengers to sign, but also really, really splitting Cap and Tony on an emotional level, because just when Iron Man was, or Tony was rather trying, I guess what you want to say, finally seeing the light, he wanted to help Cap. Zemo used that opportunity to show Tony that the Winter Soldier is the one who killed his parents. And what better way to split up two people than to put Cap in a position where he's forced to choose? And he chose Bucky. And he chose Bucky because he felt that even though Bucky did the crime, Bucky was not in control of what he was doing. Hydra was. So I think Zemo was fairly effective as a villain. In fact, he's done more to the Avengers in this movie than any other villain has. So I thought he was a good villain. I didn't have a problem with him. I thought that, I think the problem was A, he's not a flashy villain like Ultron and Loki, and B, there were other elements of the movie that were more dynamic than Zemo. You know, like the Avengers fighting amongst each other because of this act that the UN or the nations across the world want them to sign. So I thought in that respect, Zemo was a very good villain. I thought he was a lot better than I think people give him credit for. Everything else about the movie was, look, the action was good. You guys have all heard this before. I'm not going to be saying anything you haven't heard. Great action, great, some really good surprises. You know, and I think the thing I love most about this movie is really, there's so much going on that I don't think people really kind of notice this, because there's not as many Captain America fans out there as there are like Iron Man fans. But Cap really went through a lot of shit. In his journey, he's gone through a lot. And he's lost a lot of people. And what's sad is at the end of the movie, he really has no one other than his team. Bucky decides to go back to cryosleep, for lack of a better word. Him and Tony are clearly not on good terms. They're not on bad terms. It was a nice letter he wrote him, but they're not on great terms either. And Peggy died, you know? And I remember the scene where he found out that she died. He went and had a moment alone, and he's standing there like this. And I really felt for the character, because I've been so invested in this character since day one. That moment, I kind of had a flashback of all the stuff he's been through up to this point. And to see him go through all that and still be the man that he is and still carry out the duty that he carries out and still fight for what's right with conviction and show very little weakness. Like, that's some of the most weakness I've seen of Cap. That when he was pallbearer and he was crying. And it really, really, if you sit back and look at it, if you just kind of take away all the great action sequences and all the other great cameos in this movie, it was pretty, it's really admirable to see the character and his journey and where he's become and to still be where he is. I mean, he's only been in this new world for a couple of years. All his old friends are dead. Peggy's now gone, a woman that he loved, he could never be with. Bucky was a villain that tried to kill him and is going back and forth with him. So he's been through a lot of shit, and yet still he's out there doing the thing. You know what I mean? And yes, he has friends now. Obviously, him and Falcon are very tight. I'm sure he has some good closure about where Bucky is going back to sleep. And even though he lost Peggy, he's found out that obviously Agent 13 is Peggy's niece, and they've had a pretty decent relationship. They used to live across from each other before he knew the truth, and now they seem to be developing something a little bit more intimate. So where he's had loss, he's also found some new stuff. And I just think overall, as a character, Cap has just had a fantastic journey in the MCU. Now, on to the cool stuff. So, Black Panther, love him. Probably the one movie I'm looking forward to after this movie is Black Panther. I think Chadwick Boseman did a great job. I love the character. I love the suit. I love the fighting style. There's nothing else I can say about him. He's just a lot of fun. If you haven't seen the movie at this point, which I think is crazy, I think everybody's seen it at this point. I've already seen it twice. He's going to be a pleasant surprise. I think you'll really enjoy him. He's a great, great character. Now, let's talk about Spider-Man, because this is the one everybody's going nuts over. And I thought Spider-Man was a lot of fun. It was a great reminder of what's old is new again. And Spider-Man, look, this kid, Tom Holland, I think he's going to be a great Spider-Man. I think he's going to do a solid job. However, with that said, I'm not ready to give him the mantle yet. I think it's kind of crazy that there's so many people saying the best on-screen adaptation of Spider-Man. It's good, but it's only about 10 minutes worth of Spider-Man. I can't discount what Maguire did and what Garfield did and give this guy the crown in 10 minutes. It just can't happen. It's easy to look as good as he did when there's so many other flashy characters making you look even cooler. I mean, how cool is it that you got to see him fight Captain America? Okay, that makes Spider-Man look more cool than if he was fighting some villain or some crime or some criminal on the street of New York. So I think, and not only that, it's the spectacle, it's the excitement. I think a lot of times people get so excited that they're going to see something they've been wanting to see that they really overcredit it, because I can guarantee you right now, like 3-4 months from now, people are going to say, he's not that great. Let's see his own movie. I'm saying it now. I'm not saying he's not great at all. I thought he was great. He was funny. He kicked some butt. The suit was cool. I think the kid is going to do pretty good, but he's not the best Spider-Man yet. Not yet. He has the potential, but I can't shit on Garfield and Maguire for this guy with 10 minutes of footage. I just can't do it. I just, in my opinion, I just kind of think it's ridiculous to really put somebody on the pedestal that high when he's only had 10 minutes. But I do think he'll do well. I do think he's going to usher in a new view of Spider-Man for people. I think the Russo brothers and Marvel were very smart to bring him into this movie and kind of reintroduce him to the audience on a more positive note with some of their greatest heroes. And I think that's going to help his movie even more, on top of the fact that it's also going to have Robert Downey Jr. So overall, Civil War was a fantastic experience. I'm probably going to see it one more time. And I think that, the end credit scenes were not that great. I mean, it was a setup for Black Panther. And then so some people were wondering about this little thing that he got from Tony, this sign. Well, in some of the comics and some of the older cartoons, Spider-Man used to have that item. He always did. He used to wear it on his belt. He would use it as a flashlight. It was kind of a utility thing. It's actually really a callback to some of the older Spider-Man comics and some of the older Spider-Man cartoons. So for those of you who are curious, or those of you younger guys who might have followed the more recent Spider-Man and not too familiar with the older Spider-Man, that's a callback to the old school Spider-Man. He, like I said, it was just a thing that he used to use to see in the dark, or he used to use it to kind of warn villains before he would attack. And he would flash that either on the ground, in the sky, or like I said, if he was walking down somewhere that was very dark and he needed some light, he would use that. So it actually is a very familiar thing, just maybe not familiar to some of the younger people who have read maybe Spider-Man the last couple of years or the last 10 years and are not too familiar with the older Spider-Man. So if you're curious about that, there's your answer. But anyway, guys, Civil War, loved it. Loved everything about it. Huge Captain America fan, and I'm glad that he's not dead. I love Chris Evans as Captain America. I think he's come a long way. And there's nothing else to say. How did you guys feel about the movie? What was your favorite parts? What did you like? What didn't you like? Let me know in the comments below. Until next video, this is Rob signing off for ETN, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching ETN. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. Join the nation's Facebook page to meet other subscribers, or visit ETN's Facebook page and Twitter page. Links for all are in the description. You're watching ETN. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do our review for Civil War, Captain America Civil War. I did see it last Thursday. I did record a review Thursday night. For some reason, when I was editing it, it came out all messed up. The audio and the video was completely out of sync. So I ended up putting it up on Facebook. So some of you guys already saw what my thoughts were. But this review, since it's already been a week, we're going to go right into spoiler talk. We're not going to do 2 reviews or whatever. We're going to go into spoiler talk. I'm going to share my thoughts on the movie and then talk about some of the nice things like the Black Panther and Spider-Man. So overall, I love the movie. I love Captain America. There's not too much this movie could have done to turn me off. So I don't have too much to criticize. In fact, the areas of criticism that other people present to this movie are areas, they're things that I find about it that I like. One thing specifically is Baron Zemo. A lot of people criticize it was a very soft villain and didn't do much. He wasn't necessary. I disagree. First of all, he proved to be very necessary to the plot because he was the one spinning things out of control. Secondly, I also think that he did more damage than any other villain to this point. I mean, he said in the movie, you know, I can't kill them myself. I'm not powerful. Stronger men have tried and failed. And when you consider how the Avengers handled Ultron, how they handled